Women are not a niche market. They are the market. Women everywhere.
Hello and welcome to the Simply Retirement Podcast with your host, Eric Blake. I'm Wendy McConnell. I like that quote.
I knew you would. I knew you would. And I don't know. I would love to be able to quote this or to credit our guest today directly with this quote, but it's all I know is that it's they're the founders of Pur Strings, which we're going to get into in just a second. That's the first place I saw it, but they also may be the ones that are shouting it the loudest. So, and maybe more importantly, doing something about it.
Well, I love that. So we have two guests today,
We do. We've got this amazing dynamic mother and daughter duo. Again, the founder of Pur Strings, Dr. Barb Provost, and her partner and daughter, Maggie Nielsen. They are also the host of the podcast with the best name in the financial services space, maybe any space when it comes to podcasting, Women and Money, the shit we don't talk about. And honestly, I don't even know if I'm allowed to cuss on my own podcast, but I guess we're going to find out very soon.
Right? You're the boss. You're the boss.
Hey, there we go. Perfect. In the meantime, Barb and Maggie, welcome to the Simply Retirement Podcast.
Yay. We're so excited to be here, Eric. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Eric.
And I'm going to break every podcast rule in the book right now, if that's okay with you, because I'm going to share just a quick story about why I have you on the podcast. So as I think I've shared with probably all three of you that are on here, a very early riser. So I get up at 5 a.m. no matter what, Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays, doesn't matter, weekends, holidays, get up at 5 a.m. And one Sunday morning, I'm just kind of looking around on YouTube, looking for something to listen to on my morning walk. And I come across this interview with Ellen Rogan, who you guys are very familiar with, and she's interviewing Barb. And they get into it and they're talking about Pur Strings, and they're talking about how basically how the financial services industry has failed women when it comes to providing education and helping them, as we'll talk about very much in our session today, living financially fearless. And as a result of that, I reached out. I found out about what they call their Pur Strings approved professionals. And I said, that sounds very interesting. And this is really before I made the full 100% commitment to focusing on women. But we're very close. A lot of what we were doing was focused on women, but we weren't really, the website wasn't 100% directed that way. And I reached out to Barb. We had a great conversation. I became one of their approved professionals. And the experience, it's been one of the best decisions I've made in my career. The connections we made, the professionals that I've gotten to know, many of which have already been on the podcast, the opportunity to participate in different events, the caregiver event that Jeannie Doherty, another professional in the group, is going to be putting on. Actually, by the time this airs, it'll already have happened. But just so many great opportunities, so many great people that I've gotten a chance to connect with. So I also want to just say thank you for that opportunity and what you guys have done.
Eric, thank you so much for your kind words. It just warmed my heart. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think podcast is over. We're good to go now. We got our compliments. We're ready.
Well, maybe breaking rules is a good thing sometimes, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's start there. If you don't mind, just tell us, what is Pur Strings? What's it all about? And why did you start it? What was what was the driving force behind you starting Pur Strings together?
Yeah, well, I can start with that. As my background is, I'm an adult educator. So my work over 20 plus years has been educating in the financial industry services across many different organizations. So I would come in and build out educational strategies, content, curriculum, work with facilitators, everything from onboarding new financial professionals to helping them open their businesses, product, process, procedure, marketing, everything. So I was very close to the work and the role of financial professionals. My concern was 99% of them were male and 99% were white male. And a lot of the work that I saw going on was a very linear process to sell a product. And all the product marketing materials had a white man and woman sitting across from a white man at a desk. And I just thought, boy, this doesn't really reflect the world and who are really these products for. So I kept saying to management, I think we're missing a female market. I think there's a lot of disconnects here that could be corrected. And I went on to tell them all the reasons why, and they were not interested. So long story short, I saw the same thing happening across many organizations without any listening for maybe making some changes to really focus on women. I went through a divorce, met other women going through a divorce. They felt like they were underserved by the financial industry, had very fundamental questions, didn't know if they could afford it. Lots of questions, which were smart, bright, educated women, but no one ever really taught any of us about money. And then when Maggie was in high school, I just grab her and say, come on, let's run some errands. And we'd see women of retirement age, bagging groceries or handing out those samples at Costco. And I would turn to Maggie and say, why are these women of retirement age doing this work? I mean, what's going on here? So I did a deep research, hired a researcher to really dig into the data, and then grabbed Maggie again and said, Maggie, be my scribe. And we talked to hundreds of women. And Maggie, take it from there.
Yeah, the main thing women would always say to us is their financial professional didn't even look at them. And I was amazed that someone is giving their life savings over to someone who won't look at them. That I was pretty astounded by that. So Barb and I really came together to provide women a lot of free tools and resources to kind of get those foundational questions answered and to get the wheels turning. But then women would say to us, who can I go to? Who can I really trust? And that's why on our site, we have a list of our top tier financial professionals, our Pur Strings approved professionals who have all been vetted and approved and love to serve the female market, just like you, Eric, great professionals like yourself. So women really do have that trusted place to go to get that knowledge, but then to also work with great professionals, who will look at them and do a lot more for them as well.
And there's a phrase I touched on it earlier, but I would really like to get your input is, what do you feel like the definition of this phrase is? What does it mean for women to live financially fearless?
Yeah, so many women, there was just a stat, 56% of women worry about money once a week. Women have a lot of worry about money, and with good reason. We're behind in so many ways, and let's rattle it off, Maggie, right? The pink tax, the pay gap,
caregiving, overeducating, getting underpaid, all these different things,
they
stepping out of the
hold more of the
workforce.
student loans. Yeah. And there's just so behind in so many ways. And, women are the hardest workers. Like during the pandemic, we saw it like no other. They were the safety net for everything. They were the teachers, they were the nurses, they were the moms, they were the caregivers. They were the ones that really were the hub of the family and holding a lot of things together. Yet women put everyone else ahead of themselves, and they don't put their own oxygen mask on first. And because of that, we're really calling out to women and saying, you need to think about yourself first. You need to think about your retirement. You need to think about your health and welfare and oversight as you age. You're going to age alone. And you can't start investing too late. The number one regret of women is that they've started too late or didn't invest or didn't make smart financial decisions. It was hard to catch up. So we're being financially fearless is really stepping into your power, coming to a community that's doesn't have any judgment, helping you to start learning wherever you are, and working with the right financial professionals so that you can put yourself first and get smart about money.
Well, of course, and I have my feelings and opinions about this next question, but as a man, quite honestly, my opinion doesn't really matter. But from your perspective, how do you feel like the financial services industry has failed women when it comes to education and helping them make those decisions?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different things there, but one of them is just the lack of education. And that really goes for men and women. There's not, even in school these days, there's not a ton of financial education. But a lot of the advertising is very much towards men in the financial industry. It's always been a very linear sales process, and that's not always that's not always the way women buy. They want to think about things, they have more questions, and it's always about, ROIs and KPIs and different things like that, where women are more focused on, is everyone covered? Will everyone be protected? But then we also get the messaging that a man should handle our money, either our fathers or our husbands. And so, they just kind of ignore us in that conversation, and just being ignored leaves us out and leaves us behind.
And I would add to that when you think of financial services, it's a model built by men for men to sell to men. And That really hasn't changed, Eric. I mean, making changes in this industry is like trying to turn a big tanker around. I mean, even to this day, there's only maybe 17, maybe 20% of financial services are women financial service providers, unless they're in an administrative role. And the problem with that is the model does not accommodate what women want and need to manage all that she has to do in her life. So even if she's interested in this type of role, it's hard to maintain the work effort required because it's set up to a standard that doesn't help support them in their daily lives and routines.
Right. And I feel like, unfortunately, it sometimes takes some type of drastic event or drastic experience for especially for a man to have a better attitude, different attitude when it comes to educating women. And, in my situation, being raised by a single mother, I never knew my biological father. She got divorced a couple of times, and, she's in this retirement phase of life on her own, having to make all these important decisions. My grandmother was widowed when she was 62. And you hate to think that that's what it takes for a man to actually realize the significance of what's going on here. And also why, from my perspective, if I do work with a couple, we are going to take it from the wife's point of view. We're going to make sure we do everything that possible to make sure she's going to be okay, because she's going to live longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is, you really need to step into the shoes of women, which I'm sure is hard for men to do, but you really need to see what they're up against from their perspective, not from your perspective, but from her perspective. Because it's a scary place for women and money and their financial future and the expense of aging alone and their own health and wealth oversight. And interesting, right, Maggie? So many gentlemen come to Pur Strings and say, you know what, Barb, my dad died and I had to go help my mom. And I really didn't realize that she didn't know that much about where the money was at. My dad didn't really make great decisions. She didn't have as much money as I thought. I had to kind of unravel this rat's nest. And I don't want women to have to go through that. So like you're saying, yeah, there's usually some kind of, wow, realization that this is a big need.
Well, if that's what it takes, as you talk about a lot, as women we're getting into that retirement age and beyond, we're going to see more and more of these stories that are going to pop up where the right decisions weren't made or the woman wasn't involved in the decisions. And it's just we're going to have more than enough events to kind of scare us straight.
Yeah, definitely. Which is kind of a bummer that, we have to have these scary events to kind of set us straight rather than just being proactive about it and having a beautiful life later on.
Well, sometimes it just take that slap in the face to get you on the right
path.
It's unfortunate though, because, our our heed to action is, for women to start today. I mean, just get started. Right. That's what we're here for at Pur Strings, is no judgment, no shame, which is so much of that goes on around money and women. It's fear. It's embarrassment. It's, I should have known better, or nobody taught me this. It's all of that. We have to step through all that kind of yuckiness that we feel and into a community that says it doesn't matter where you are. Let's just start where you're at and build some strategies and work with the right professionals who are going to build you a beautiful financial future. If you work in partnership and learn what you need to know and make the right moves, you can have a beautiful financial future.
Well, you kind of answered my next question right there, in terms of why it's important for women to work with a financial advisor. But actually then the challenge becomes, well, how do I find the right person? How do I find the right financial advisor for me? So what do you feel like women should be looking for when they are looking to hire a financial professional?
Well, we always say interview them. So we have, a list of vetted professionals right on our site, and we make it very transparent. As you well know, Eric, every professional has their own webpage. And we ask the professionals, fill this out completely. Put, why you love serving women is one part of it. What's your bio? What are your creds? But also, what are 3 things that you do in your off time? Tell me a little bit about who you are, who your family is, what you love to do. Then let me know what your costs are, right? What are you going to charge me? That's a question that women never want to ask. And they always think, I'm not going to go because I don't have enough money for them, or it's going to be too expensive. I won't be able to afford it. So they don't even want to venture into the conversation. So again, on our site, we ask the professionals, put your minimums on there. Some of them start from $0 to $10,000. Some do start at $500,000. Some are more, but there's a wealth of different starting points and different advisors that can provide anybody who comes to our site, and then make it easy for them, right? So with one click, they can go right to your calendar link, to your website, and learn about you. So take a look at all the different profiles and pick 2 or 3 that you think you're going to vibe with, or you like what you're hearing on their page. Make an appointment and interview them, because you're going to get financially naked with these people, and you want to make sure that you're feeling like this is a person that's going to be in my court. They're going to answer my questions. They're treating me with respect, with dignity. They're not making me feel ashamed for maybe poor decisions I made, or poor because I don't have a lot of money. Whatever the zhuzh is going on, you want to really make sure that you are interviewing a couple of different financial professionals and finding the one that you vibe with.
So enough, and you go through the process of trying to vet these professionals. So, what would you look for in a financial advisor? You kind of went through a couple of those, but is there anything else that you would add? Any specific questions you feel like women should be asking, or what would you be looking for if you were going to hire a financial advisor?
I mean, one thing is always, to make sure that your financial advisor is a fiduciary, which means, that they have your best interest in mind, because that's a huge thing when it comes to financial services. Is you just don't want to be sold the product. You want to make sure, they have your best interest in mind. And then, I like to wonder, what are their specialties? What are their key areas? As a younger person who has a student loan debt, going to be a high income earner, I'm looking for someone who can really has a specialty in those areas, who can help me approach my debt and do these different things where, Barb might be looking for somebody more who can help plan for that retirement, understands a second marriage and how you want assets divided between different families. And so really understanding what those specialties are, and are their needs really in your, do their specialties align with your needs? Because there are so many different certifications and designations out there. So I always like to make sure that their specialty is in the area that I'm looking for.
I think that was one of the things that was such a challenge for me. Again, being a financial advisor, you feel like you want to help everybody. Every woman that comes to you with a question, you want to be able to help them. But that is one of the things that I found is it is very difficult to specialize in everything. I don't deal with student debt. I don't really deal a whole lot with 529s, but I know I can help somebody who is within that 5-year window of retirement plan their retirement income strategy. And that's been, again, one of the most valuable things for me about Pur Strings is knowing that if it's not the right fit, if I have a conversation and it's not the right fit, I know there's somebody I can refer them to get them in touch, because there's always the right person for somebody. We just got to help them find it.
And I love when someone can say, that's not my strong suit. And here's somebody who does have the strong suit, because that means you're so well versed in what you do. And I want someone who's well versed in, the student loan situation or whatever it may be. So I always think more highly of a person who can give away that person, and who's not trying to be like, I need every person who comes my way, and I can help everyone, because we know we can't. But I want someone who has that real depth of knowledge in the area that's needed.
And it is hard. It's not, because you also know there's the other aspect of you want to make sure that somebody that it's as passionate as you are about helping women make those decisions. And so there is a level of where you're questioning yourself. Well, should I just work with them just because?
Yeah.
But again, you got to figure out ultimately that's what it comes down to, is what's best for each client, making sure we get them connected to the right person. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about the podcast. Number one, who came up with the name, and how long did it take for you to agree upon that name?
I think we were just having lunch with a girlfriend she's pretty funny herself. And we're just like, we're going to talk about the shit we don't talk about. And so we're like, why don't we just call it Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about? And we kind of looked at each other like, should we commit to that? And we both said, yeah, I mean, let's make it straightforward. I don't think there was much debate after that. We just were like, this is exactly it.
Yeah, exactly, Maggie. There is so much that we need to unpack for women, and we need to start opening the dialogue about. In fact, She had a funny statement. I put it on my wall. It said, "Is this lighting a fire under anyone's caboose today?" Because that's really what we want to do. We want to shake it up a little bit and be not, you're not, I mean, of course we say you need to save for retirement. You need to save for, your emergency fund. And those are all basic concepts that we do. And we need to show people why that's important and how to do it. But we also need to say, hey, if you're thinking about going through divorce, before you even mention the D word, here's a worksheet of the top 10 things you need to do first. Who's telling them that, right? Or you're leaving the workforce to care for children. Before you do that, here's what you need to have in your household first. You need to make sure you know where the money's at, you're a beneficiary on things, you have life insurance, he has life insurance, you know where the beneficiaries are, you have a will, you have power of attorneys, you have your own retirement with spousal IRAs. Like, you need to set yourself up, and that's not a bad thing. That's a very family-centric thing to make sure you're set, I'm set. We're making these changes in our marriage and our income, but we need to make sure that I'm just not walking away from all my benefits, all my contributions to Social Security, all my contributions to my 401k, without me feeling like I am also protected in this joint family decision. So who's telling them that, right? So we have to unpack these conversations that women are afraid or just don't know what they don't know. And we're just starting to talk about it.
Well, yeah, so I think that's a good point too. So we've talked obviously about financial advisors and financial planning and that kind of thing, but there's so many other different types of professionals that are both on Pur Strings as well as that you've interviewed on your podcast. So what are some of the other examples of professionals that women would have access to or be able to connect with through Pur Strings or being able to listen to the podcast? Who are some of the other professionals that might be out there that they would need to know about?
I mean, we always start with an attorney. We need the estate plan. We need the wills, trust, powers of attorney. So that's always a huge one. But we also know, 18,000 women are opening new businesses every day. We need people to help us with the books, whether that be a fractional CFO or an accountant, and a business coach. But we also have people who could help you purchase an already running business. I didn't even know this was an opportunity that you could have. So just bringing that conversation to light to show people, you can start a business or you could just buy a business, and that's another opportunity out there. And then we also know that, there's real estate. We buy and sell homes, either that we're living in or have as investment properties. And this can get very intricate, especially during a divorce. So we have some people who specialize in just purchasing a home during a divorce to understand, what alimony and child support can go into buying that house, what counts, what doesn't count, how to make sure, not all the money is going into the house and you have no extra money to spend. All these different great professionals. I'm trying to think who else we have. Just some financial coaches to help, pay down that debt, get your budget straight when you need some assistance with that. It really does take a whole team. Oh, yeah.
Special needs planning.
Right.
Everybody has unique kind of slices that they go deep on. And like you said, Eric, if, you need someone who needs special needs planning and you may not be the expert, you can partner with somebody
Absolutely.
at Pur Strings who has that area of expertise that's so critical now as well.
That has some serious nuances in it.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to ask the question once, but I would love to get each of you to respond. But what didn't I ask that maybe I should have, or any other specific nuggets of wisdom that you would like to share for women that are looking to live financially fearless?
Well, I always say there's so much, shame that women feel about money and insecurity. With good reason. We were given poor money messages growing up. We are still given poor money messages from all the marketing that comes our way, how we spend too much, we should save, where when they're talking to men, it's all about invest, invest, invest. But I'll tell you what, women are a powerful market, hashtag Taylor Swift, and we are making big, big moves. And women are coming into the largest transference of wealth in history to the tune of $30 trillion. We want women to step into their power and start learning about money. At Pur Strings, 99% of what we give away is free. We're here for the asking. We have professionals lined up and ready to help women because with this large transference of wealth, women are going to have a one-time opportunity, many women, to really leverage any inheritance they're getting, things like that, to really set themselves up for a beautiful financial future. Our fear is they won't know what to do with it. We've seen this before. They start giving it away. People start realizing they have some money, so they start asking for it, and they feel like, well, I need to help little Johnny with his tuition or whatever it might be, and they start giving it away. And women really need to start stepping forward and putting themselves first, get smart about money, learn what they need to know, connect with financial professionals at Pur Strings who are going to have their best interests at heart, and plan a great financial future where they can have it all.
I think I would say that just remember money is just a tool, and let's get excited about using it. There's so many great opportunities. I mean, we talk about all the shame and stuff, but like I am so excited for what's to come with women and all the power in our hands. I think we're going to change the world and live just some of the best, most empowering lives. And I know when women are doing well, we empower and help so many other women and men and children and families. It's amazing. So I'm just so excited to see what's possible, and dream big. Don't just think small picture, think big picture. There's a lot of amazing things that can happen out there, and we're all capable of doing it.
Like I said, I was so excited to have you both on. You guys have made such a difference in our business over the last year and a half. I think it is just a little over a year and a half ago that we got connected with Pur Strings, and I couldn't be happier with that relationship and getting to know you guys and some of the opportunities you've given me, being on the podcast, being on some of your live events. It's been an excellent experience. I want to make sure though that you guys share what are the best ways to get in touch with you, to connect with you, the website, the podcast, any specific details you want to share, and we'll make sure we get those in the show notes as well. How can people reach out to you?
Yeah, definitely. We're at Pur Strings CO on all social media, so I would love a follow. Our website is purstrings.co, and so you can go to our front page and check out our professionals, the directory right on our front page, and then take a listen to our podcast, Women and Money, the shit we don't talk about. It's on all your streaming platforms. So give it a listen and let us know your thoughts. I can't wait to hear your feedback.
Yeah, and I would add that, Eric, we're always looking for financial professionals just like you, Eric, who love to serve the female market, have a natural female following, whether you're a financial planner, advisor, attorney, CPA, bookkeeping, however you might help women in any way financially. We'd love to talk to you. And just let women know we're here for them. We're free, no barriers here at Pur Strings. We're here so that all women can be financially fearless.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much. It's been excellent. Thank you so much for the input. If you'd like to learn more about our firm, Blake Wealth Management, please visit our website at blakewealthmanagement.com. You can find more about my story, access to a lot of our free resources from our newsletter and YouTube and blog, all that fun stuff. But if you're a woman that is less than 5 years from retirement and you have questions about how to optimize Social Security, minimize your lifetime tax liability, and invest smarter, just click that Start Here button on the website. There you can learn more about our process for helping you make an educated and informed decision about whether we are the right firm to help you navigate your retirement journey.
Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you for listening today. Please like, follow, and share this podcast with your friends. Until next time, I'm Wendy McConnell,